Something that's been really difficult and challenging for me to come to terms with throughout the years is the fact that people are not like me, and I am not like other people. And yes, you can say, well, no, duh, of course you are not like other people, and people aren't like you. Everybody is so unique, everyone is different. But there are times during like social interactions or social encounters with people where I have expected them to behave exactly the way that I would behave. Or I have expected them to give me the same like courtesy, the same care, the same love as I would have given them. I'm not trying to be prideful or egotistical with this kind of message. I'm just trying to say that sometimes we have expectations that are based on our upbringing, our values, our emotional awareness, our season or station of life. There's all of this information that informs the way that we would behave in a situation, and we expect that same behavior from other people. One area where I could see this very strongly was when I was doing some online dating a few years back. There would be people that I would have really interesting and long conversations with, very detailed, where we're asking each other about our lives and even talking like philosophically about some of our beliefs. And then out of nowhere, even after having phone calls and that kind of thing, out of nowhere I would be ghosted by that person. And it was just so crazy and astonishing to me how that person was capable of behaving that way. Like how they weren't capable of sending me a message to close the interactions we'd been having if they didn't want to talk to me anymore. Sometimes I've been in situations with like friends or my partner or even family where you expect or they expect a certain level of treatment. I remember in 2020 I had a hangout with a group of friends, and the topic got on to George Floyd, and at the time there was just a lot of racial tensions, and I remember breaking down angrily in that conversation and feeling upset about everything that was going on and having like a very strong emotional reaction and outburst. And after that hangout had concluded, it didn't conclude in the best way because of my emotional outburst. And I'm usually someone who is very calm, and like that was a side of me they had never seen before. And none of those friends came to check up on me after that incident. And I just couldn't imagine having a friend go through that and not checking up on them, especially if it concerned something that was wrought with tension, like their race or their ability level or like their gender, or just something that would stir up things within a person if you identify with that group. And I've been in many other situations like that, and I'm sure that you have as well, where you have some kind of rule book or expectation for how you feel that people should behave. Now, I'm not trying to use this message as an excuse for like, if somebody has behaved poorly to you because they're a different person or they have different values or different upbringing, emotional awareness. This message is not an excuse to prevent accountability. Like, I feel that people should be held accountable. A partner, whoever, who behaves in a way towards you that winds up being hurtful. This is not to deflect or to forfeit consequences or holding someone accountable for their actions or being accountable for your own actions. This isn't that. This is the phenomenon, I like to call it, as, growing up and just realizing like, wow, people are so different than me. Like when you get down to the nuances and the intricacies of social interaction and human behavior, and something that might be completely common sense for you to do, to check up on someone, to get back to them, to be kind or polite in a certain situation, that is not sometimes within the other person's emotional field or spectrum or mental field. And it can be mind-blowing sometimes, but if you have ever been in that situation, just know you are not alone. It is honestly astonishing, like I've shared in some of my other videos, how unique we all are when it comes to like our values, our upbringing, our experiences, our genetics, our family life, our culture, the gender that we have, all of those variables. As the world interacts with us, as we interact with the world, it is remarkable how different we all become with all of those variables interacting with each other. And that trickles down, and it does impact and influence our mannerisms, our behaviors, how something might be common sense for us or not, how we might behave with a friend or not, how we might behave with a partner or not, in a dating situation or not, at work with our coworkers. And it's really fine-tuned. These things can be very fine-tuned. Yeah, there are forms of like conditioning or what is accepted within society in terms of behavior. But when you get down to the intricacies and the complexities of human interaction, it is sometimes very shocking how different we all behave. Some things I've encountered like this is like just like checking up on people or inviting people to things. Sometimes what is said, it's like, why would they say that? And maybe to them it's completely normal that they said that. Human behavior, sometimes I've had people behave in ways in front of me that were just like completely like, okay, maybe I attract weird people, I don't know. But I've had sometimes some forms of behaviors that I feel are very awkward and strange, but to that person, that is very normal to them. And so because we are not like each other, people are not like you and you are not like them, there are times where you're gonna have to fight harder to be yourself. But I want to encourage you to keep being who you are, the positive aspects, that beautiful essence of who you are. If you're somebody who is kind and you care for people, and you're in scenarios or situations where people are not showing that back to you, I want to encourage you not to let it dim your essence. There are times where, I've been in situations where, like maybe with online dating, for example, I was ghosted, or maybe a really good friend didn't check up on me when they're supposed to because they knew that I was struggling with something, or a family member or loved one forgot something that was very significant to me. I'm saying don't allow those moments to deter you from being you. Like, don't care less because the people around you are not caring, or don't be kind to a lesser degree. Be your essence, be yourself. Now, I'm not saying that means that you should allow yourself to like be constantly undermined or not valued. That's totally different. Like if somebody in your life is constantly undermining you or devaluing you, or you feel that the relationship you're in with someone is ghastly, not reciprocal, then that's a whole other conversation, that's a whole other story. Sometimes you'll want to change how you are to make life easier for yourself, or people may even like look at you funny or disparage you because you are a certain way. But again, I want to encourage you to keep doing you, keep being you. Sometimes we wind up being other people's teachers, and they wind up being our teachers too, because we are in these dynamic or intricate social interactions, and we learn from the way they behave. Like, wow, people are like that. That is a reality, that people are like that, and they learn from us too, in terms of like how we might care or be there for them or check in on them. Sometimes too, people don't see you the same way that you see them, or they may not be seeing the situation that you're in with them in the same way, so that affects how each of you behave towards that situation. Sometimes people notice different things, or their priorities are different, or their values are different, or they're just completely on a different path, and vice versa. And so how each person responds to the situation is gonna look completely different. When I was in that situation with my friends back in 2020, for me, what I saw, what I knew inside of myself is someone who was really hurting, someone who needed support, needed love, needed care. And what they saw was someone who was angry, someone who was lashing out, someone perhaps who was challenging them and calling them into question. Now, I'm not saying that how someone behaves towards you in a situation, I'm not saying that it means you need to still continue those social interactions with that person because like you have so much understanding for them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that understanding that people are very different from you can give you some insight into that person or into the human condition. But I'm not saying it means you have to stay friends with people who treat you a certain way, or that's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's your decision to make. For someone like me, it's so important for me to really understand where other people are coming from, just for a deeper awareness and understanding of myself and humanity. Whether I decide to continue on with those people or be friends with them or date them or whatever is a whole other story, but I just want to understand why things are the way they are. I also want to say that it happens both ways. Like those blind spots that we feel that other people are missing, we have blind spots as well too that we miss. Now, if you're someone who is like your superpower is empathy and being caring and considerate, maybe that is your strength. So you kind of feel like, no, I am always there for people. I'm always checking up on people. I am considerate. I always think about people. I put them first. And more often than not, I'm sure you do, but there are times, like no one is perfect. There are times where even the most empathetic person will fall short, or they will have a different way of expressing empathy, or certain seasons of your life where you cannot be there for someone. Long and short of it is we all fall short. No one is perfect. And there are times too where we learn from other people. The long and short of this message is for us to have grace for the fact that other people cannot be like we are, and we cannot be the same way that other people are as well. I've had to accept that my strengths will look different from another person, and their strengths will look different from mine. My weaknesses will look different from another person, and their weaknesses will look different from mine. But expecting people to behave exactly the same way as you just opens up a world of disappointment and loneliness. My name is Imo, and this is my channel In My Opinion. And if you enjoy these kind of on the fly takes, like these little snippets, bits and pieces of lived reality, then please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have you fallen into this trap like me of expecting people to be exactly like you, and in what areas did you expect that in your life? I would love to know more. Thanks again for watching. Bye.